Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special event, the second special event of the day, dedicated to the resilience of the IMS network in the specific conditions, the post and during COVID-19 pandemic. So earlier today, you could see the presentations of 6 station operators or PTS staff that shared with you their experience with their stations. Now we're going to have 5 more presentations. We're going to go to Ecuador, Argentina, then to Namibia, and we have a presentation from experience from the PTS. So without doing more, I'll present the first speaker, which will be Professor Juan Pablo Aguiard. Hello, Juan Pablo. Juan Pablo is joining us from San Juan in Argentina. He's a titular professor in the University of San Juan and also works in the National Institute of Seismic Prevention, INPRES. We're the station operator of 3 seismic stations in Argentina: PS01, Paso Flores, IS01, Coronel Fontana, thank you, and IS02, Ushuaia. So the presentation will be done in a pre-recorded video. Our colleagues will play it from here. Juan Pablo, stay with us for questions and discussions after that. Thank you very much. So,
thank you, all of you.
Hello, everybody. Today, I would like to show you how INPRES have dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. INPRES is the National Institute for Seismic Prevention. Its primary mandate is what the name says, prevention, by the development of building and construction codes, its continuous updating, and as well as seismic monitoring. As you can see, we have a construction testing laboratory. Additionally, we have a lot of seismic stations all over the country, and the headquarters is located in the city of San Juan, Argentina. After the pandemic was declared by the World Health Organization in mid-March, the government started with some quarantine or preventing and compulsory social isolation called ASPO. Quédate en casa means stay at home. So all the duties were made using remote and/or virtual platforms. In the case of official agencies like INPRES, the most of them were carried out by use of some software like GDE or other applications for telework. The physical maintenance of the seismic station during the HPO period was standby, was stopped completely, and once this period finished and it returned to face-to-face activities, we have to follow some protocols like personal temperature monitoring at the institute, biometric sensing entry when entry to the building, keep on distance with people each other, reduction of working hours, and to avoid the sharing use of vehicles or offices. Among the actions carried out by INPRES is to maintain and operate a large network of seismic and acceleropographic stations all around the country. 3 of these stations are belonging to the IMS. One primary station is the PS01 in Paso Flores, an auxiliary station here close to San Juan, and another in Ushuaia, Tierra del Fuego. Well, understanding the resilience as a concept, it is defined as the capacity of the system or communities or individuals to adapt and recover, survive, of course, after disruptive events. The COVID-19 pandemic got INPRES, as well as everybody, somewhat unprepared. However, very quickly we had to carry out an update of our way to operate, both at an institutional level, at a personal level. The question is how to overcome the difficult presented. We must make the most from what we have at hand at this moment. So protocols were developed based on standard and routines. In a very short time, we had to start working remotely. The teleworking was implemented in accordance with previous law that had to be updated on the fly according to the situation of the pandemic. All the personnel in INPRES began to operate remotely. This work is about information gathering that we can summarize in the following lines. The provincial and national government banned people to move except to get essential goods or bring essential services during this initial period. Respecting the public sector like INPRES, all the agents were authorized to carry out tasks from their homes. This mandatory isolation period starting in March 20 and finishing in April 26 last 37 days. 37 days, all the country was completely stopped. After that period, starting a new period of geographical segmentation up to today. Travel between provinces was prohibited, and in some cases, negative test for coronavirus was required. This led us to use virtual platform for communication and for working. After isolation stage finished, in its return to face-to-face activities or semi-normal activities, preventive measures like we have to follow using protocols, like personal body temperature sensing upon entering the institute, the use of alcohol in gel before and after marking making the biometric entry on exit marks, the mandatory use of chin straps all the time. When you are inside the institute, you have to use you cover your mouth and nose, the reduction of working hours, to avoid the shared offices and vehicles, and of course, the borders of the country were closed. We can see some signals, some signs to adopt in this case. Well, the five phases for this isolation administration is with phase one, strict isolation that you can see up to 10% of the population can move, more or less, and these different phases are determined by the time the cases, positive cases of the illness duplicate. For example, if the number of cases duplicate in less than 5 days, we can consider that to start phase one. And as well, if they duplicate the cases in between 5 to 15 days, this is phase number 2. If the number of cases duplicates in 15 to 25 days, this is phase 3. More than 25 days to duplicate the cases is the phase 4, and the new normality. Yes. Well, this is the organization of the phases. Normally, we use to be in this phase, then in this phase of segmentation, some activities are permitted and some other not. And now we are between the phase 4 to passing to phase 5. Here is a list of the software package used during this period of isolation and for teleworking. But anyway, the IMS stations are not directly connected to internet, so this station could not be controlled remotely. They can only be controlled using the SSI computer and the station processor that are located in the INPRES headquarters. This is a very bad thing because this particular station was very complicated to maintain. Anyway, for the rest, all the software works very well. If we compare the PLCA station data availability over time, we can mark the time when the quarantine started by here, more or less. We can see these outages were due to the same problem. So the pandemic is not influencing this station. As well as, for example, CFA station, we have big outages, large outages, previous to the pandemic start, due to different reasons. As well, in Ushuaia, these outages were due to the same. This is the UPS problem, and this outage was during the pandemic and takes a very long time to solve because of the problem to transport to get the station. As conclusions, we may say that during the period of COVID-19 pandemic, several adaptations had to be made in the way of working, which we estimate gave the expected result. However, labor strategies are in continuous evolution in order to maintain the service quality standards and also maintain the health of the institute staff. Thank you for your attention and have a good day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Juan Pablo. Let us
You're
collect
welcome.
some questions here in the chat, and then for all, we're gonna ask the questions at the end of the session. Is that okay? So the next presentation will be again from the South American continent, and it will be done by Lieutenant Jorge Perez and Lieutenant Fernando Villasis. Both are Navy officers of the Ecuadorian Oceanographic Institute of the Naval Forces. The actual position of Jorge Perez is Director of the Island Hydrographic and Oceanographic Service of the Ecuadorian Navy. He is located at the Galapagos Island. And the actual position of Fernando Villasis is Head of the Management Department to Navigation and the National Direction of the Aquatic Spaces. So both of them, they are surface warfare officers and hydrographers. And they're in charge of managing and operating the IMS infrasound station IS-20 and radionuclide station IS-24, both located at the Galapagos Island. So Fernando, Jorge, the screen is yours.
Steffi, good afternoon for all. Let me share the presentation. Well, let me know if you can see the presentation, the PPT. Yes? Okay. Good afternoon for all. I am Lieutenant Fernando Villasis. It's a pleasure for me to share a little experiences that the Ecuador team has gone through in the management of the stations belonging to CTBTO during the COVID-19 pandemics. Well, Ecuador has two stations belonging to the IMS, the radionucleus RN24 and infrasound IS-20. They are located on Santa Cruz Island in the Galapagos Archipelago. Its operation and maintenance are in charge of the Ecuadorian Navy through the Oceanographic and Antarctic Institute. In other words, its operators are military who fulfill functions inherent to the hydrographic service and efficiently contribute to the management of the stations. The RN24 station is 10 minutes from the operator's office. The station's maintenance and operation tasks include the following: routine inspection visits, scheduled maintenance to equipment and facilities, data submission, sample preparation and shipping, and operational issue solving. On the other hand, the IS-20 station is 45 minutes from the operator's office. Among the maintenance and operation tasks of the station, there are the following: routine inspection visits, including the monthly inspection of the 8 sites, scheduled maintenance to the facilities, data submission, and operational issue solving. On March 16 of 2020, Ecuador's president declared a state of exception through the Ecuadorian territory to contain the coronavirus transmission. Galapagos was locked down and the curfew started. Tourism stopped and no one could go in nor or out of the island. Armed forces were called to contribute to public order, logistics in the face of the COVID-19 emergency. Well, the problems that showed up is due to lack of maintenance of the IS-20 station. It was easy to go to the sites. Due to the humidity conditions of the island, the weeds grew excessively. Due to the emergency, shipping companies were closed, so operators didn't ship samples and didn't receive maintenance supplements. The routine maintenance of the stations was also stopped since as soldiers, we fulfill various activities facing the pandemic. But the solution that we had, well, the troubleshooting via online, we work with General Dynamics staff. Also, operators were divided into groups to fulfill national and CTBTO activities. The operators, being military, had special mobilization permits, so they were available to access the stations. Well, this part, Mr. Lieutenant Perez is going to do, but I don't know if it's available to him to talk. Maybe he had problems in the connection, but well, I'll keep to.
Afternoon. Can you listen to me? Dear, I am Lieutenant Jorge Perez. I am the local operator of the bus station. I am here with Galapagos with our staff. At the end of the 2020 flights, we're resuming with greater frequency with 2 flights per day. That's gradually improving tourism activities. This allows us to establish our logistic change, as well as the sending of the samples of the laboratories required. Currently, the Galapagos Island doesn't have a COVID case. Tourism activities still have restrictions, and the operators could start with the routine maintenance. Our team is carrying out the tasks of the RN24 normally, thanks to the support of the staff, but technically and logistically. Starting in the 2021, operators could enter the station and visit the 8 sites, thus improving the operation of the IS-20. Likewise, once the Galapagos population was inoculated, there is now a little more security to the performance to routine maintenance, such as with cutting, which prevent to the access to the sites. It's important to mention that this year our team has received online training for the correct handling of the IS-20, which has followed efficient works in compliance with our obligation. This is all, and thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Jorge. Thank you very much, Fernando. It's a very special station, very special location. We know that your duties have to be made together with the duties as station operators. And as you mentioned, also the training, 2 of you and also Juan Pablo, you've been participating on the first remote training that was provided by the PTS this year. So the remote and training and interactions probably helped on both sides. So thank you very much again for the presentation. The questions will come eventually at the end of the talks. And now we have to have another presentation from South America, from Argentina. Marcelo Fernandez from the National Authority of Nuclear Authority of Argentina, but he could not join, unfortunately. So we'll not have this presentation in the program, and we'll go directly to Namibia this time by joining Dr. Nortin Titus. Hello, Nortin.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Nortin is Chief Scientist at the Ministry of Mines and Energy of Namibia, and was Chief Geophysicist of Geological Survey of Namibia. And as is also well known to the PTS and the whole CTBTO related community, as scientific advisor to the Namibian Foreign Mission in Vienna for Working Group B, and participating in the Working Group B mission discussions, operating and managing IS-35 infrasound station, IS-35 and AS-67 SUMEP in SUMEP. So the presentation will be a pre-recorded video. Nortin, stay with us. We're going to play the video from here. And let's go to IS 35 and AS 67 Sumit.
Okay, thank you. So we've got 2 weeks left to the S&T conference. I'm in Windhoek now, making my way to Tsumeb today. I got the car packed and make sure I've got everything. So hopefully this is how the video will start. If it doesn't, then, well, then you will not see the video. Okay, just quick.
Is Eusebio Shueda. I have been a station operator for the IMS station in Tsumeb, but currently I'm 26 years old. I'm in retirement now. As you can say, I was lucky to be one of the team which looking for the infrasound and seismic station in Tsumeb. In June in 2004, the station was certified. I can say in this point that the knowledge was not enough from the beginning. So what helped us in this time, it was the training which we received from Vienna. It was really a good experience during that period.
My name is Farushka Rochelle Himaro. I'm 27 years old. I'm a geotechnician at the Tsumeb station. I started at the survey in 2015 December, transferred to the station in 2016 January. Coming to the station was a complete new environment. It was unknown territory. It was frightening, but yet Mr. Shueda was very patient with me. So it was a lot of learning, a lot of exposure. I had to redo things a few times to get it correct, ask a lot of questions, and it was just very confusing the first few years. I was actually thrown into the deep side, and I got training that same year, 2016. I got to go to training in Vienna. That same year, I was also exposed to the OSI. I got actually selected and to be part of the OSI, the third OSI training cycle. While studying, I was still working full-time. Holidays, I would come back to the station and resume my duties here. And I still had the infrasound, and I tried to participate as much as possible, so juggling all that.
The year 2020, it was a horrible year. The virus came to be active in Namibia. It was a raining season. The younger one whom I trained, he was also about to go and give the baby. It was not difficult for me alone to operate the station. Outside the station was flooded. So many problems come up, and then the station become mission capable.
March 2020 was horrible. Help had to return because of strict lockdown measures. Vaults were flooded. We were stealing solar panels and batteries. It was Tata Shueda's last year before he goes on retirement. I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm about to go on maternity leave. Then the station fails and it becomes not mission capable.
Andres Johannes. I'm 37 years old. 2017, we've been discussing and planning the upgrade of the station with the PTS. Unfortunately, we got caught out before the plan was implemented. The station was down for months while we were working hard here to get everything that is needed to the station from Vienna. Not only equipment, but also people under the COVID restrictions. Once the upgrade started at the station, there was no time for thinking, only time for doing. We were under severe time pressure.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was the first time we tried something like that.
I think everybody here in the room enjoyed, and I'm sure everybody in the audience enjoyed that video. Martin, it was a really nice happy ending story of that station that in the middle of the COVID lockdown was in a major maintenance process happy ending. Thank you very much for the video.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you
for
very
saying
much.
that. I'll be available for questions.
Yes, sure. And the last presentation for today will come from here, from the stage. Tom Hoffman, who is the chief of the operations sections in the IDC here, will present the experience viewed from that side. Many stations, lockdown at those stations, difficult situation, and how the operation group managed to mitigate that
Maybe
situation.
not in 8 minutes. That's
Not in 8 minutes.
all of what you said. Okay, let me trying to get here some timing.
So the screen will be yours.
Yes, 1 second. So, how are we doing with time? Right, okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Tom Hoffman, Chief of Operations, and I would first like to acknowledge a lot of people here of the ops sections. They all have contributed by working very hard during that pandemic. There was definitely some extra work, and that was not only on the station operator side, and I very much appreciate what we've seen today. It's really amazing how station operator did run this extra mile every day and try to get things going again. And we know that there are issues, and I hope that we could also provide that support that you needed. I have heard it more than once in the morning session and today, and now also in a later session. It looked like that we did provide some support, some extra support, and again, I would like to appreciate the extra mile that you went going through this very difficult time. This presentation will tell you a little bit about operation of the IMS network from the CTBTO side by giving you some example. This is a short presentation. Tomorrow there will be a little bit longer presentation also within this topic. There at 11, I think we start with the session. There will be this presentation in longer version with extra slides. I just picked some slides from this presentation that are real examples and that show where we did something. Okay, we all know that this pandemic was an unprecedented challenge, and it was also a challenge to the network, of course, a global system that relies on shipping, on communication, and many things more, traveling, and that was, of course, impacted. So when these measures came into place, by the Austrian government, and we also went in lockdown on 16th of March, seems to be the key date in many places. Latina Servo sent out this tweet, and we went into remote working, as many other people did on Earth. And we had, of course, to deal with national and international travel restrictions that affected ourselves, our staff, as well as staff in different countries. And we also had to deal with the logistical issues. Two examples that I will now use here. One of them is the station calibration program that we have for the SHI stations, seismic, hydroacoustic, and infrasound stations. And then the second example is the radionuclide network QA/QC quality program that relies significantly on shipping and logistics, and both of these programs were affected. So first of all, what were the mitigation ideas that we had? We were faced with an unprecedented situation. We needed to put something in place. What did we do? First of all, remote access capabilities. Everybody went home, worked from home. So we prepared by giving them computers, by having them carry tokens and so on. We enhanced dramatically the communication means with the operators. Whatever worked was used. So from WhatsApp, Skype, webinars, software, whatever worked was used. We had frequent meetings, much more frequent meetings. We had special meetings with COVID-19 issues, so only focusing on those and on means how to do this. We also cranked up communication. For example, here you can see all the tweets. Every week we had another, this is by month, but there was more than that, I think, tweets by the executive secretaries showing the state of health of the network and the data availability numbers. And special cases that required special interaction very often were escalated to higher management, and then the OES, the executive secretary office, they interacted with the permanent missions. We have seen this morning also talk, for example, Kenya, I think it was, where they could resolve their travel limitation because of the interaction of the higher management. So if we look at example one, the radionuclide quality program, here we can see that the shipping and transport times increased dramatically. You can see the red numbers by means or average by 70 or 40, 50%. And despite of all these difficulties and with some planning and interaction with the laboratories, we actually were able to improve the median time analysis time for these samples of the labs in the same year by 13.7%. So that's pretty amazing. We were all surprised about this. It took longer to ship, but they were then much faster in analyzing these things. So in a way, this proved that if we communicate well, if we do some extra collaborative, we can maybe balance certain things. We always found out that one thing that's not achieved could maybe be compensated by another one that has worked more than once. And we can also see this in the next slide that goes on calibration. So calibration program, we usually predict, now we have a plan on how many calibration and which station we want to do. You can see this in the, try to get my mouse here, in the table. 70 were planned. In the end, we were able to do 64. They were not done as scheduled. The first half year, we were really behind, but then with planning, with interaction, with rescheduling, taking different stations, we were able to adjust. And in the end, we actually achieved 91% of the plan. So we were also quite happy about that. And we can say that the COVID scenario really became an opportunity for us to better focus on how to interact and how to be more flexible. Yeah? And that also has influenced how we do the program now in this year. So this slide here shows the data availability. It's very convoluted. You can see many bars here. Let's take here where the mouse is, the first set of bars, those are all weeks. And you can see over the weeks how the data availability of PS of primary seismic station developed. You can see there's a drop over the weeks. You can see that others like hydroacoustic, like infrasound, were doing better. But overall, and then here we can see the auxiliary station, which are generally lower, but they are kept up. So in general, the trend is, okay, yeah, we see some impact, but in many cases, we were able to recover and we were able to maintain a pretty good average, even in times of problems. So that's probably the outcome. We are fairly stable. If the outage and the lockdown is not too long, we can probably smooth over some of the problems. But, and that's also one of my questions I have scribbled down when I heard the other talks, what we learn, we want to have lessons learned. And one of the questions that I posed myself and also to the station operators is, what is your estimate from your experience now? How long can you keep up with maybe the new means that we have invented during the COVID? And what's the maximum time where you can say after that, it's probably very difficult to maintain the quality that we have now. So last slide. Again, I would like to appreciate all the help of these station operators. It was really an amazing collaboration with the station operators, and this flexible approach that we took could only be possible because of the other side that was really so actively involved and so willing. I heard the word passion in this nice video. I think that's what we experienced. So despite all the challenges, the stakeholders made an extra effort, and I think all sides did really do this. And so we should really take this experience of COVID as a special experience that gave us an opportunity to learn new things and to be better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. You asked one question. I tried to write it down. I could not, but maybe it's a good question to our presenters today. I don't know what the chat is showing. Before continuing with the questions, again, I want to thank all of you for your presentations, your dedication, your time that you spent not only for this science and technology conference to present, to prepare, to present, but for your profound sense of duty and the resilience of your units, your organizations that gave the results that Tom just showed up. You said you have questions.
I have questions that I scribbled down myself. I do not see a question in the chat, but please feel free. If questions come up, please post them into the chat of the forum. I will start with the question I just asked, and maybe I'm not directing that question to anyone specifically, but in general, because all the presentation we have seen, they showed solutions. Very nice. I mean, first you can see desperate, what can we do? And then you can see how people get creative, innovative, and do new things. I've heard a lot of different approaches. One, of course, that always came up is online tools. And my question is, do you feel better prepared, let's say, in the next climatic cycle in your country? So it's getting colder. If it's getting colder in your country, then there might be more cases and you might have another lockdown. Do you feel better prepared the way you are? And do you also feel that you got enough support from our side, from the PTS side, to be better prepared? And maybe follow-up question, if not, what could we do in addition?
So maybe this question may come to you, Juan Pablo, because the winter is coming in Argentina.
Well, the winter is still here. It's very cold here.
Okay.
And in my experience, well, the station in Paso Flores, I will start the video, sorry.
Can we see the?
Yeah. Can you see the video?
Yes.
Okay. Well, in Paso Flores is very cold, and the operator is living in a colony. Many old people, and many people die during this year, and he is with some illness right now, and it is quite difficult to ask them to go to the station to replace digitizer or something. It takes long. He needs some help from his son. I am not sure if we are better prepared. We are just facing the situation and try to solve the problems as they appear. But unfortunately, I'm not sure if we can react better or faster just for 1 year experience with the pandemic. But it's my opinion. Here, in my personal job, I am most prepared. I have more experience with this media for communication, to ask other people to do something in another place. For example, I am in my home and I ask somebody to do some work here at the office. This is better. Maybe this part is better.
May I follow up specifically with you, because you said that there was. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. May I follow up, because you said specifically there was an issue, remote station, you could not access, no internet connection to the station. Can you imagine that there would be an improvement, a technological improvement possible that
Yes, of course.
to better remotely control the station?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, as I said in the video, exactly these three stations are controlled with computers here, but they are not connected to the outside. They are in networks that is connected to CTBTO or AFTAC, but not to internet. And that's why I cannot remotely operate or test or control. Well, only we have a connection to take the data to our network, but I only can see the traces of the signals, but not, for example, if I want to reset or I want to send a command to calibrate or whatever, I cannot do it from my home.
Got you. Okay. So there's definitely some improvement possibility, and we will work on this. This is very good input. Steph, you want to?
Yeah, I see Norton raising hand. I was notified that Norton.
Yes, I just also wanted to agree with Juan Pablo that I think we will be breaking our heads and spending energy trying to engineer what we can do. I think in our experience, we couldn't have asked for more. I mean, we had to sit with the embarrassment. I don't know how we feel about having a station down for months, but maybe it had to happen so that we can also see that the world did not end, if I can put it that way. But if I mean, at the station, both Verushka and Eusebius tested positive already for COVID, with Eusebius after retirement having had to go, he just finished retiring and then had to go to hospital because of COVID. So what do you do in that case if you send somebody there to somebody has to go in isolation, then you place somebody else at risk. It's really a tough thing, and I think what we've learned is what we can do best is most probably make sure that we, from our side, do everything that we know needs to be done to keep the equipment, let's say, secure and running, and that we have strong remote ability or remote operating ability with the station. But I think that what more can we do than to sort of sit it out? I mean, the PTS, I felt like them, and I was closer to the station. Hands cut off. All I could do is send emails. And I understand the PTS there as well. That we just have to see what we can do. Tomorrow the government might decide no, it's full lockdown. Then all plans have to be parked. So I think it was a horrible experience, but a really strong learning lesson that we had. And I think the best we can do is just prepare whoever is there to be very good at what they are doing, and put the faith in people that they will be able to do that.
May I ask you the question, because you're there in the dialogue just right now? Do you see, because you said you rebuilt everything and it's new vaults, new equipment, new everything. Have you built in anything that could help, or do you have more spares available, for example, or is there anything that has changed from the situation before, where you obviously faced the various issues at the same time, and now, even on the personnel side? I mean, it's hard to say this, but it looked like there was one staff member, and if that one staff member is not there, then we couldn't do anything.
Yes, that's correct. I mean, with Eusebius and Verushka, we knew that Eusebius will be retiring, so they had 5 years together. Plus, we bolstered people in our office to always support. But like you say there, Thomas. Sorry, I forgot your question quickly.
No, I was just because you remodeled everything and you redid everything. And so the question is, do you feel better prepared maybe for the next round if it really comes?
Yes. What Eusebio showed was that, when he started, the equipment was new there. What we experienced with Varushka was this complete renovation with new equipment. So new person understanding the new equipment. So, and we are also much more attentive in, because we knew how quickly things could deteriorate. Chumep is such a strange place. It's dry for months and then it rains. Then within weeks, you have all kinds of things happening, leaks, geckos. It just goes crazy within a very short period of time, what we experience. So we are a lot more attentive now at our environmental conditions. And we don't take that for granted anymore. But I think that has been actually our biggest challenge. The equipment is robust. If the equipment is well protected, I think it's our job to make sure that whatever protects it, that we can find a solution locally that protects it even further. I think this is the main thing. So many of the things that and sadly this is experience based. You have to be there to understand. Oh, we can't use these rubber seals because they degrade within 3 days. We need a much more expensive rubber seal or a special type of rubber seal. Like we have now, with the new lids, the edges are rusting. So we are trying to look, how can we protect them even more? Because they might not seal after a year, it might be a recurring thing. But this was the great experience, that we knew that you are dependent on our information and what we log. So I am very confident that we feel much better, because as the video showed, it was those young people that actually rebuilt the station. They grew the confidence of putting in that equipment, and I think this is the good part of it. So we've left it in sort of younger hands now.
We
Yeah.
can have one more question.
That's true, Norton. And I was following from really close all those actions, and I'm really glad to see the results at the station with your video. Do you have time for a question?
We do have a very short time, but I don't have a question, but I have a comment. Just for curiosity, this is directed to Ecuador, and very nice presentation also there. And I just wanted to congratulate, of course, good work. And even though you had some tough problems, you really managed that well. And I can see, and that is my comment, in your case, what you also pointed out, military operated has some advantages, especially when you go in very difficult situations, whatever that be, pandemic or something else, and then you have special access possibly that other people would not have. So I noted this as a specialty of your location. So
Yes, for us, it's a little more easy to go to another places. Well, in the pandemic, we have a lot of regulations here in Ecuador, and also we did another different duties that normally we didn't do. But yes, I think that is just a little more easy. But thank you for your comment. Well, for us, it's a pleasure to share our experiences with yours. Well, we keep working with you. It's always.
thank you so much. Great.
Thank you very much, Fernando, and thank you very much, Jorge. So I believe we are almost running out of time. We are on the time, but we have to finish this session. So once again, thank you very much to all the presenters to this session, for your efforts. The theme is not over. It cannot be over because worldwide, unfortunately, is not over. We'll continue tomorrow with an oral session with the same team on the resilience of the IMS network and the lessons learned. That's in the beginning of the program, followed immediately by a panel, especially dedicated to that same discussion. So to the audience, follow up if you are interested in that team. Tomorrow, also posters on Friday. And let's hope that the situation will improve worldwide for everybody. So this is the end of this session. Thank you very much, and keep safe and keep connected and in touch with the S&T presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.